If you take your kid to specialist after specialist, run every test, tried every supplement, diet, therapy, and protocol, and you're still sitting there going, why is nothing working? There's one concept, one word, one missing piece that almost nobody's talking about. And once you understand it, everything starts to make sense. And that word is subluxation. And by the end of this episode, you're going to know more about your child's nervous system than 99% of pediatricians do. So let's go. In this video, learn what subluxation actually is and how it affects your child's entire body, how the perfect storm of early life stressors sets the stage for subluxation, why traditional testing, lab draws, and even gut testing might miss what's really going on, and how insight scans can find what other tools can't, and what the path forward looks like with neurologically-focused chiropractic care. So, 40% of school-age kids today have at least one chronic health condition. Okay, I'll repeat that again. 40% of school-age kids today have at least one chronic health condition. The autism, ADHD, anxiety, gut, sensory, sleep, immune epidemic is real, and parents know it. The pediatrician's three favorite phrases are, they'll grow out of it, it's just genetics, let's wait and see. And the truth is, kids don't grow out of these things. They grow into the next wave. Colic becomes ear infections, becomes sensory issues, becomes ADHD, becomes anxiety, same nervous system, new label. It's called something different in each age group, but the actual root cause is nearly the same. A stressed out, wound up, out of balance nervous system. Most people, including most chiropractors, define subluxation as a bone out of place. And that's about 10% of the picture. Subluxation is a neurological issue with three layers stacked on top of each other and then go deep into the system. First, the misalignment, a structural shift of the neurospinal system. Second is a fixation and restriction movement, emotion. Joints lose their ability to move freely, which means they lose proprioception, which is going to be more of that in a second because it's everything. 3, neurological interference and imbalance. The brain stops getting clean data and starts getting stress signals instead. So, let me give you a brain-body communication analogy. Your kids were designed to operate at 5G. A subluxation drops them down to dial-up. So, proprioception is your body's GPS. It's the constant stream of input from joints, muscles, ligaments, and connective tissue telling the brain, here's where the body is in space, here's how much tone we need, here's how to coordinate this movement, and here's what's safe. Okay? It's the single largest stream of sensory input the brain receives. More constant than vision, more important than the gut-brain connection, more foundational than almost anything else. So, when the subluxation locks down a joint and restricts motion, proprioception drops. And here's the kicker. When proprioception drops, nociception goes up. So, nociception equals the brain's threat and stress signal input. Pain, irritation, danger, something's wrong here. And it's a seesaw. Less proprioception in, more nociception in. The brain stops getting everything is safe and coordinated signals and starts getting alert, alert, alert signals instead. And all this translates into your child's brain as being told every second of the day that the body's under threat, even when it's not. Now, your brainstem is an air traffic controller. It coordinates breathing, heart rate, digestion, immune function, sensory processing, motor control, all simultaneously. And when the air traffic controller goes down, the planes can't land. And now your brainstem is the operating system of the body. And when the operating system crashes, every program fails. Now, the upper neck region is loaded with proprioceptors and houses the vagus nerve, the wandering protector, the brake pedal of the entire nervous system. Now, there are three domains of the brainstem. And the first is regulation. which covers sleep, digestion, immune tone, heart rate, and breathing. And then we have sensory processing, which is filtering input, threat versus safety, and sensory thresholds. And third is motor development, which is tone, reflexes, postural control, milestones, and speech motor planning. And this is why subluxation in the upper cervical region creates such wildly different looking symptoms in different kids. Same root, different expression. And when the brainstem is subluxated and the vagus nerve is interfered with, the immune system loses its off switch. The stress responses lose its brake pedal, and the brain goes blind to what's happening in the body. So, how does subluxation happen? Well, we always talk about the perfect storm, which is 3 stacking layers. The first being prenatal stress and maternal and fetal distress. So in mom's stress, the cortisol crosses the placenta. The baby is literally soaking in mom's stress chemistry during the most critical neurological window of life. And this isn't the blame. Most moms have no idea, and this is the information. Second up is birth trauma and birth interventions. You have forceps, vacuum, Pitocin induction, prolonged pushing, C-sections after long labor. Even routine deliveries generate enormous mechanical force on the upper neck and brainstem. And this means the vagus nerve can be damaged before the baby even takes their first breath. And then there's always the invisible force, the liver room, which most parents have no idea this is even a thing. The environmental storm and toxic overload. It's just so you know, genetics don't change this fast. However, the environment does. Autism, ADHD, anxiety, autoimmune, and chronic illness explosion we've been seeing the last 20, 30 years can't be explained by genetics alone. But what has changed dramatically is the world our kids are developing in, from conception forward. And today's kids are marinating in a stew of stresses their grandparents never encountered. We have pesticides and industrial chemicals, heavy metals in food, water, and air, ultra-processed foods, erect gut microbiome for antibiotics and toxic exposure, and chronic immune system activation, and it never gets a break. Every kid has a bucket. Stress fills it, and when it overflows, symptoms spill out. We can't always control what pours in, but we can increase capacity and improve drainage. So, what does subluxation actually look like in real kids? Well, with one foot stuck on the gas pedal and one foot stuck on the brake is dysautonomia, internal chaos and exhaustion at the same time. Now, what does this look like in our kids? Well, body signs are things like colic, reflux, constipation, ear infections, poor sleep, frequent illness, low or high muscle tone, W sitting, toe walking, and clumsiness. And the sensory signs are seeking, avoiding, meltdowns, overload, they can't filter. And then brain-based signals are speech delays, anxiety, focus issues, emotional dysregulation, stimming, tics. Now, there are 3 stages of subluxation, and of course the path to neurological exhaustion. So first you have sympathetic dominance, which goes to dysregulation, goes to neurological exhaustion. And this is where regression sets in for our kids. So your child isn't broken. They're not bad, they're not defiant, they're overwhelmed. The body is running on a sprint while you're asking for them to be calm. So how does this get missed so early? Well, conventional pediatricians chase symptoms. They only check height, weight, basic motor milestones, then put all the focus on getting you to take all the vaccines. Functional medicine is brilliant at gut microbiome, nutrition, toxins, but there's a gap. The nervous system controls every system functional medicine is trying to fix. And without addressing the neurological root, you're treating downstream effects of an upstream problem. And then functional neurology, is great work on reflexes and brain-based rehab, but here's the order issue. A equals subluxation, B equals retained primitive reflexes. You can't fix B before A and expect it to go smoothly. Now, standard spinal chiropractic focuses on pain and structure and misses the neurological piece entirely. And here's a big one, the supplement spreadsheet trap. Parents arrive in our office with 30 to 40 supplements, spending thousands monthly, and they're still not healing. They're doing all the right things in the wrong order. And this is the missing link, the piece that's hidden in plain sight. You haven't been failing, you've been missing one specific piece of the puzzle. And once you find it, everything else you've been doing starts to actually work. We don't guess, we test. We look deeper and beyond the surface. In our office, we do neurological insight scans, and we use 3 objective neurological measurements. First up is neurothermal, which detects regional dysautonomia and helps determine which organ, glands, specific systems are struggling with dysfunction. 2, we do a neurospinal EMG, which measures motor system tension, asymmetry, confusion, exhaustion, which equals dyskinesis, and heart rate variability, which measures overall autonomic adaptability and reserve. These scans shows what's happening neurologically, and not just what's structure and not just posture. They give us a real-time look at the nervous system. And then neural tonal adjustments are gentle, specific, neurologically target, not the cracking, popping you're picturing. We're talking about restoring signal clarity, not fixing bones. Then there's foundation before function. We get the nervous system regulated first. Then everything else you've been doing, the OT, the PT, the gut work, nutrition, starts working better, which is the multiplier effect. So, what healing really looks like. Body soft signs first, brain second. Sleep, digestion, immune, motor, sensory, behavior, speech, cognition. Always in that order. It's predictive neurophysiology. And here's what I want you to walk away with today. Your child's chronic challenges are not random. Not just genetic, they're not just how they are. There is a root cause. There's a nervous system explanation, and there is a clearer path. So, I'm not here to tell you to throw out everything else you've been doing. I'm telling you to put the foundation in place first, then focus obsessively on the sequence and batting order of interventions, and healing starts to happen in a more predictive, sequential fashion. So, get the scans. Find out what's actually happening neurologically. You deserve answers, and your child deserves the foundation. You can call us or DM us to schedule today. So, remember, every kid counts. Please expect miracles, and talk to you next week.